sorry. So we did our fuses. All you gotta do is point under the hood, and we did our emergency equipment. Okay, so we can check that off. Emergency equipment, right there. And first aid body fluid kit, right there. All right? So we have the stop arm, safety arm, which we'll do when we're outside. Student lights, we'll check those when we're outside. And this stuff is all when we're outside, right down in here. Last 3 sections. So right now I have to do the service brake, parking brake, and air, and we'll do it in that order. All right, so the service brake, all we're going to do is verbalize it. All right, service brake, to test the service brake, I would just drive forward 5 miles an hour, step on the service brake, which is your foot brake, make sure your bus stops and does not pull hard left or right. Okay, the parking brake, all right, and if you just have a seat for a moment, basically what the parking brake is you just make sure it's applied, shift into drive, look around, make sure no one's near this bus, gently accelerate, 1, 2, 3, bus did not move, put it back in neutral. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now, and this isn't anything to do with the vehicle inspection, I just have to move my bus. You can keep rolling.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just back it up just a little bit. My hazards are on. I'm looking around. There's nobody near this bus. And I'm just gonna back up a little bit to move out of their way so that they can literally move their bus. Good. And I'm using all of my mirrors to do it. Okay, good. That way they can move their bus out of the way. Okay. So, we did service brake. We did park and brake. Now the air brakes, so it's not hydraulic, right? There's no hydraulics, it's air brakes. So this here is the pass or fail. Everything else I've done so far is just points.
Okay.
This is pass or fail. You either know your air brakes or you do not. Okay? So what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna look at our, it's called GLAB. That's the acronym.
Okay.
The G is our gauge. It's our governor's shutoff. So the governor's shutoff on this bus is 120. The range for air is typically between 120 and 140. All right? So there's your G in GLAB. All right? The L is leak, the A is alarm, and the B is button pop out. All right? But we have to set up for those 3 steps right now. So to set up for the leak, we just can't have the bus running. To set up for the alarm, we need to turn it to run. So we will hear the alarm when we get to it. To set up for this popping out, I have to push it in. All right? Now, I'm going to ask my assessor, and I'll pretend to be the assessor, okay? So I'm going to ask the assessor to time me for 1 minute. Now, I want to make sure I do not have a leak in my system. All right? I'm sitting at 100, if you can see it. Okay? 100. So, I want to make sure I do not lose 3 psi within that 1 minute's time. All right? My assessor will tell me when the 1 minute is up. When they say time is up, then I will give the result, whether I lost 3 psi or not. And you're going to want to hold your foot down on that brake, Because if I move my foot a little bit, I'm going to lose. Okay? So I'm just going to hold it down there. And at the end of 1 minute, they'll say it's been 1 minute. Okay? I'm going to look at my gauge. I did not lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pump the brakes to about 60. At that point, there's going to be a red light that comes on and you'll hear an alarm. Okay? I'm going to do that now. Okay, I'm going to keep my foot depressed because I don't want this bus rolling. All right, so you see the red light?
Yes.
All right, that's a low air red light. You hear the alarm? That is the low air warning alarm. So you don't have to say this during your assessment, but if that comes on as you're driving, you need to find a safe place to pull over as safely and quickly as you can, because the next step of this that we're going to create is still losing air, and around 40 psi, that button's going to pop out. And I'm going to do that now. And we're going to watch our button. Okay? So at that point, we already know that this bus doesn't move because we tested the park and brake. We know wherever that pops out on the road, that's it. You're stuck right there. If you're on 385, and you don't have to explain any of this during your assessment, you just need to know this is why the air brakes are so important, right? Because, you know, once that pops out, you're not moving. If you're in the right lane, 385 on the highway, and you didn't recognize you were losing air because you weren't paying attention to the alarm, you're going to be in that right lane when that thing pops out, and your bus is going to come to a screeching halt. Okay? That's why this is pass or fail. You need to understand that. All right? So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to check off. We're going to check off air brakes, all right? Because it was successful. You get 2 opportunities to do this.
Okay.
All right? If you do it incorrectly the first time and you recognize it, say, oh, I got to redo this. I messed it up. Second time you do it, take your time. Make sure you follow all your steps.
Gotcha.
All right? So at this point now on this bus, because we ran the stop arm, this bus thinks we were out on route. So I'm going to go back, and I have to literally hit that button back there, or else the alarm is going to go off. And just for practice purposes, I'll let you know what that alarm sounds like if you don't hit that button. All right? So that says, the bus is saying, hey, you're leaving before checking for students. The bus does not know we were practicing.
Right.
The bus, that alarm triggers the alarm once you shut your bus off. All right? All right? So now we are going to exit, and we're going to do the outside.
Okay.
Now you have 45 minutes to do this.
Okay.
All right? So since we know the service door was working with the switch, we're going to just look at it.
Okay.
It's not cracked or damaged. It's properly mounted, right? And we know it's functioning. I had done everything else in the entrance, so we're good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at all of our exterior mirrors, right? We want to make sure that they're not cracked or damaged or loose. They're properly mounted, and we already know they were clean and clear and adjusted. We're going to do 1 tire only on this.
Okay.
All right? Because we're not route drivers right now. We're trying to get our CDL. So 1 tire. All right? So it's even tread. All right? Now the tread depth has to be 4/32. All right? So the way we would do that is with a depth gauge. All right? You don't have to do it. You just have to know they use a gauge to do it.
Okay.
We have mechanics that handle all of our mechanics on the bus. But it's the DMV wants you to know this stuff. Okay, so the sidewall is not bulging, cut, cracked, or damaged. Your rim is not bent, cracked, damaged, no illegal welds. All right, your lug nuts, your bolts, and your holes, all three items, none of them are cracked or damaged or loose, and they're all secure, properly mounted. The valve stem and the cap is in place. It's not cracked or damaged or loose or leaking. Anything air or fluid not leaking. And again, a gauge to check proper level of pressure. Okay? All right, so now we're going to look at the side of the bus. Now the instructions will say you'll do this side and anything different on the other side. Okay, so we've already done our entrance, we've done our tire, we've done our mirrors. All right, so over here, the only other thing that we have our fuel cap door is secured. Our fuel tank and lines, none of them are cracked or damaged or loose or leaking. Everything's properly mounted. Now we're going to look at all of our lights, all right? So we got lights up above, we have our signal lights, we're also going to look at our reflectors and our reflective tape. All right, we're going to look at all of it together. We're going to make sure none of it is cracked or damaged, loose. They're not broken. They're the proper colors, and we know they're working because we had them checked. All right. Now in the back, we're going to look at again all of our lights, including our strobe light. Remember, we asked our assessor to check our strobe, so we know it's working. So our strobe, all of our lights. We're also looking at our reflectors and our reflective tape, right? None of it is cracked or damaged or loose. We know they're the proper color and we know they're working because we had them checked. Rear emergency exit door opens and closes smoothly. All right? Now on this side, we're just gonna do anything that's different than the other side. You only have to do one emergency door on this, so we're good on doors. We do not have to do this one. All right? Stop arm. All right? We know it's not cracked or damaged or loose. It's properly mounted. They're the proper colors. We know it was working. All right? We're good. Now, the battery door is not cracked or damaged. It's properly secured, right? And our battery itself, all right, the cables are mounted properly. There's nothing leaking. Everything is secured in here. Everything looks functional. And we know it is because the bus started up. All right. Now we're gonna go under the hood. This is pretty much, should be our last step. All right, but let's just take a quick look at our sheet. All right, so the front, did I do the lenses yet in the front? I did not, did I?
Nope.
All right, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's look real quick. All of our lights and lenses, including our leg, right? None of them are cracked or damaged or loose. They're the proper colors and everything's working. All right, so we can cross off lenses. All right, we'll get into fluid levels shortly. All right, we did our tire, we did our rim, we did our lug nuts. Now with the lug nuts, remember we talked about, you know, the bolt, nut, and the hole, right? All three. So it just says lug nuts, but there's three components there. All right. We're going to get into this stuff momentarily. The other thing I'm going to say underneath is there's no air or fluid leaks in our bus. All right. Now we're going to get into one side and then the other. Over here is pretty simple. All right. We have our coolant, sight glass, shows proper level. All right. So there's 3 fluids we're going to be talking about. This one and 2 more on the other side. Okay. All right. So we're looking at no leaks of air or fluid. All right. Just like I said out front. If you didn't say it there, you can say it now. All right. Let's head over to the other side of the engine. And this should wrap us up. Okay? So we're going to look at all of our hoses, including our power steering hose, and this is our brake hose right here, right? This one right here. So none of them are cracked or damaged or loose. None of them are leaking. They're properly mounted, right? Now we're going to look at our fluid levels. So we got oil, dipstick right here. So to check oil, you just pull it out. You don't have to do it. You're just gonna say how you would do it. Pull it out, you would wipe it off, put it back in, take it back out and check for proper level. Power steering fluid, again, sight glass, we can see proper level, okay? The next thing we're gonna do is come down to the power steering box. It's properly mounted. It's not cracked or damaged or loose. And it's not leaking, right? Because there's fluid going into it, right? So now the steering linkage, all right? So you'll just name, this is the arm, this is your link. Down there is the tie rod. See that ties the 2 tires together, that one running across. This and this are your joints and sockets. All right, so you can talk about them all together. None of them are cracked or damaged or loose, properly mounted, right? And they're functioning. Now let's get into, so we talked about our fluid levels, right? We did 3 fluid levels: coolant, oil, power steering. All right, fluid and air leaks. We talked about there was none, right? The steering system we just talked about. All right, the spring mounts. Now airbags we don't have, so that can be crossed right off. All right, your springs, your mounts, and your shocks is what we're going to talk about now. So your springs are right here. All right, so they're not cracked or damaged or loose. They're not shifted or broken. None are missing. Right, your mounts are here, and there's one back there. All right, so your mounts are not cracked or damaged or loose, properly mounted, and they're working. Right, and here's your shock, right there. With the shock, it's properly mounted and it's not leaking. All right, so there's our springs, our mounts, and our shocks. So we can cross that off. Brake lines we did, because we bundled that with all of it, including the power steering line, right? Brake contaminants. Basically, you're just pointing in back here. And what the contaminants are is there's no, and we call it the acronym of DOG, no debris, oil, or grease in your brakes. That's it. That's your contaminants. That covers that. All right? Side of the vehicle, we did our lenses, right, and reflectors. We did it on the other side. We did all of our traffic monitoring devices, right, which is our mirrors. We did our battery. The fuel tank we did. Now remember, we don't have a DEF. That's free to you. And frame, all right? So the frame is right here. So you're talking about the frame. You're talking about the floor. Now the floor would be about here. We're talking about the floor inside. And there's cross members under the floor but above the frame that hold the floor up. So none of it is cracked or damaged or loose, and there's no holes. The reason to say no holes is because you don't want like exhaust getting up into your cabin. So that's why. And as a reminder to say no holes on your frame, there's a factory hole. So if that helps you remember to say that. And the other thing is, look at your bus. You know, you don't want it leaning, right? Front to back, side to side. All right? So there's a frame, and then lenses in the back. We did that, right? All right. So it looks to me, looking at this list, we did the stop arm, right? Outside. We did the safety arm, which is the leg. And we did our student lights, right? Front and back. So that's it.
All right. Big great.
All right. How long was it?